Hello, KZOOMers.
Hey, everybody.
I had this fantasy. Janice Rubin used to be over in a square over there, and now she's in our square.
3D.
And I had this fantasy, like one by one, taking each of you and putting you in my square. Like, wouldn't that be something? Just every week another person shows up in the square. We have to get testing, make a really big
yes.
square.
And the chanting, the sounds will just increase with each person.
So welcome to KZOOM, and maybe there's even people who this is your first KZOOM. We've been doing this for a year and a half or something, KZOOMing, and there's this feeling of like, maybe I can go out to the world and teach retreats, and then, maybe not. And so as I'm putting my schedule together for the summer newsletter, I'm thinking like, well, the only thing I can really count on is KZOOM. That's what I can really count on. But there are other possibilities. And but it's like you want to open up to the pleasure of what is. So it is such a pleasure to see your faces, and I'm going to just take a look around the Zoom room. Ziva Lev is just getting bigger and bigger here. Looking around the Zoom room, saying hello, connecting ourselves in this beautiful gathering. And during this whole time of pandemic, I think it's like we are in this spiritual challenge of what do we want to put our attention on, because there's our we can get pulled in lots of different direction, and the spiritual practice of really deciding what it is we want to bring our focus to. And the Song of Songs has really helped me with that, because the focus of the Song of Songs is the path of love, and how do we step onto that path of love? How do we meet the obstacles to that path, on that path of love, and how do we open, more and more to be able to put love at the center? So the practice that I want to begin with, I call it pleasure as a doorway. So there's a kind of a theme through the Song of Songs that one of the themes of the Song of Songs I like to think about is that what is beautiful opens our hearts to love. So that if we can kind of tune our eyes and our being towards that beauty, it will open us to love. And another theme of the Song of Songs really has to do with how pleasure opens us to love as well. And to really refine what we mean by pleasure, so that it takes us really to the root of all pleasure. And so I like to say pleasure is a doorway to expanded reality. I said pleasure is a doorway to expanded reality. When I wrote that Birkat Hamazon that said that, I just knew it was true, and I didn't know how it was true. And then I want to just explore, like, I know this is true. Now, how do I do this? And so the Song of Songs is helping me. And this practice that says, how beautiful and how sweet is love in all its pleasure. So I want to take that pleasure and use it as a doorway to expanded reality. And I think that what helps is to go to the simplest of pleasures. And I actually would, I really feel like our lives are made up of these possibilities of very simple pleasures. And when we add them all up, it really creates a kind of a doorway, which is a state of consciousness through which we can open up to that larger reality. So I'm going to ask you in the chat if you want to, just to bring to write in some of the simple pleasures that you have been encountering in this, and everyone. Okay. My garden has been giving me such pleasure, especially the zinnias. Hugs from grandchildren, this wildflowers, toadstool, hummingbirds, time with my brother, walking the beach, seeing the ocean, rainbows, waking up after a good sleep, reading, watching hummingbirds, birds chirping in the morning.
Riding my bike.
So, blue skies, a new pen. So that the question that I ask as my question for contemplation is, first, can I open to the simple pleasures, and can I experience those pleasures as doorways, without grasping or holding on, but rather being touched by pleasure and letting it send me to the pleasure of being itself. So that's the there's lots of pleasures that we are connecting with friends. And so I want to chant this in honor of those all of those simple pleasures, and to see if we can lift them up, because kind of when we're sometimes we're in a state where we can't even enjoy those pleasures because we're looking for something else. And so opening up to those simple pleasures is a practice. Oh, right. D&G. D&G for the Shruti players.
Do you need the sign in? I can send it to you, period.
No, we're good. Oh. Ready?
Mah-yafit umana'at ahavah batanugim 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 Mah-yafit, ahavah, batanugim. Ahavah, batanugim. Mah-yafit, ahavah, batanugim. Mah-yafit, ahavah, batanugim. Ahavah, batanugim. Mah-yafit, ahavah, batanugim. Mah-yafit, ahavah, batanugim. Once more. Mah-yafit, ahavah, batanugim. Mah-yafit, ahavah, batanugim. Mah-yafit, I invite you to close your eyes and just breathe into pleasures. Just the simple pleasure of sound, of harmony, melody. All the simple pleasures that you have experienced, just to bring your attention there and let them in. Let yourself receive, absorb, integrate all of those simple pleasures that make up our life, that give us strength and resilience and incentive, and kind of a sense of energy, and that could open our hearts to love and open up a doorway to a new stage of comfort, of consciousness that is connected to the root of that pleasure. When you're ready, you can open your eyes, look around the Zoom room, take pleasure in the faces here, and so whenever I'm doing a practice, it always leads me to the next practice. It leads me to the next practice, So I want to say, oh, how do I walk through that doorway of pleasure? And then I look at our liturgy, our psalms, all of these inheritances that are maybe keys to that doorway. And so I wanted to do this practice that is called River of Bliss, that I think has in it some instruction about how to enter through that doorway of pleasure. And from Psalm 36, it says, "V'nachal adanecha tashkaym, v'achal adanecha." And this river, the Nachal, is a river, and I say from the river of your bliss. And the word adanecha, it comes from Eden, the source of all delight, Eden. So your Eden, is a river that is flowing from the source. It's that river that the Kabbalists talk about that is always flowing from the source into us, into this world. V'nachal adanecha. And tashkaym is that you are, you're giving this drink to us all the time. So this is that nahar yotze me'eden that is always flowing. Nachal adanecha. And it's personal, it's like, it's given to us personally, like, tashkaym is like, we're being watered by it. We are being gifted by that river. And each of those simple pleasures that I experience each day are really in the flow of that river that I want to open to. And then it says, why? Ki Imcha mekor Chayyim. Because with you, with that source place that we connect to, mekor Chayyim, it's the source of life. It's the place that gives us vitality, presence, aliveness, sparkle. So when we can be with that, we can feel it within us, then we have that. And then I say this last part. I say it in the feminine because I like to mix things up. I say be'orech niray or. In your light, we see light. And it really, in your light, means in the light of consciousness, in the light of awareness. When we are in that place of expanded awareness, then we're gonna see light everywhere. It's like in that light, we see light. I'm thinking of you, Ziva. Light. That you like that word, light. Another word for love. Okay. So in your light, we see light. In the light of this higher consciousness, then everything is going to become illuminated for me. And in that light, I can walk through the doorway. So I want to do this chant as like sort of the next instruction on the path as we step through that doorway of pleasure,
And we are greeted with this sense of tashkaym, this flow that is happening, opening to that flow. Adanecha, tashkaym, adanecha, tashkaym, adanecha, tashkaym, adanecha, Imcha, mekol Chayyim, be'orech niray. For with you is the source of life. In your light we see light. Adanecha, tashkaym, adanecha, tashkaym, adanecha, tashkaym, adanecha, Imcha, mekol Chayyim, be'orech niray. Is the source of life. In your light we see light. Adanecha, tashkaym, adanecha, tashkaym, adanecha, tashkaym, adanecha, is the source of life. In your light we see light. Once more.
Adanecha, tashkaym, adanecha,
adanecha, tashkaym. Adanecha, adanecha, tashkaym. Adanecha, adanecha, tashkaym. Imcha, Chayyim, niray, for with you is the source of life. In your light we see light.
Close your eyes and focus in on that light of consciousness that fills up the inner space. And begin to then bring your attention to the breath as being the flow of that river through us, that river of life, river of pleasure, of beauty, of vitality, strength. The word Kabbalah means receptivity. We become Kabbalists when we receive that flow. Yum. Oh, and let us say,
Yum.
So the practice that I would like to do next is called His Longing for Me. And it comes from the verse from the Song of Songs that says, I am my beloved's, and his longing is for me, only for me. His longing is for me. And I was really trying to tune in to what does that mean in this sense of when I experience God reality as longing for me. What is happening? And there's something that is so satisfying to be the object of that desire. And what it felt like to me is that this force of desire that God reality is beckoning me with is actually the evolutionary force that is calling me into my full potential. And that there is, a movement, a pull that is calling me, that is pulling me into, and maybe even expanding me into the fullness of who I am meant to be. And the question that I ask is, can I surrender to that evolutionary force that is calling me into my full potential? It's like that force, that pull, that beckoning is there. And so I've been kind of meditating this week on what does it mean to have that evolutionary force. And I remembered this moment in a movie called My Octopus Teacher. Did you see it? Did you see that movie?
Yeah.
My Octopus Teacher.
Wow.
So there's it was a kind of a documentary about this guy's relationship with an octopus in the wilds, and really also studying the ecosystem that this octopus lived in. Where was it?
In Australia.
Wasn't it?
Australia?
Or New Zealand.
Tony, was it in Australia?
No, Tony says no.
No?
She's in
No, maybe it
Australia.
was in Italy or
South
something.
Africa. I think it was South
South
Africa.
Africa. Oh, it's in South Africa. Okay. Yeah. So there was this ecosystem of these. So the question arose, like, how did these octopi get so smart? How did they get so smart? How did their brains grow so big? There was some kind of evolutionary force that was expanding the brains of these, what looked like very kind of primal,
simple
creatures. But there's something happening. And when they studied the ecosystem they lived in, they realized that in this same ecosystem there lived this kind of shark. That exactly in the same place where this octopus lived were these sharks
that love to eat the octopus.
And the octopus was those sharks' main food, and the shark was the main predator of the octopus. And so in order for that octopus to survive, they had to keep getting smarter and smarter. And their brains, grew, and this constant kind of play between the shark and the octopus just kind of grew the brain of the octopus, and it was when I realized that, it just felt like, oh, maybe the sharks in my world are also calling me to evolve, calling me to expand and kind of grow my heart, my connection. They are, those sharks. I'm not going to name any names.
we know who they are. What they are.
So instead of looking at them as just the adversary, what if I look at them as the messengers, as the manifestation of the evolutionary force that is growing me to my full potential? Doesn't that kind of change everything to be able to think about it that way, and to be able to respond in a way that is that is kind of like seeing the much bigger picture in that. So that's where I started to go with this chant. And so the chant is really first saying, Ani ladodi, I am yours, God. I am giving myself to this God field, to this relationship. Ani ladodi. And then I say, Va'alaita shukato, and this realization that, you really want me to evolve. You really want me, God, to become self-realized, to come into my full potential. And I want to open to that force of it. So and then when I realize that, it feels glorious. It feels like I want to exult in that truth. So there's kind of three stages of the chant that kind of express the, first the giving myself to this process, to God, to my beloved, and then the realization that I am called by that evolutionary force. And then the third part of the melody says, wow, I want to exult in this truth.
Or as Tony says, wowza.
Wow.
Wowza.
So let's see, we just begin with that sense of giving ourselves here. Ani ladodi, ani ladodi, I'm yours. Ani ladodi, ani ladodi. And do you want me to evolve? Behalai Tishukato Me'alai
Teshukato.
And then I exult in that truth.
Ani ledodi. Me'alai Teshukato. Ani ledodi. Ani ledodi. Ani ledodi. Ani ledodi. Me'alai Teshukato. Me'alai Teshukato. Ani ledodi. Ani ledodi. Me'alai Teshukato. Ani ledodi. Ani ledodi. Ani ledodi. Ani ledodi. Me'alai Teshukato. Me'alai Teshukato. Ani ledodi. Ani ledodi. Me'alai Teshukato. Ani ledodi. Ani ledodi. Ani ledodi. Ani ledodi. Me'alai Teshukato. Me'alai Teshukato. Ani ledodi. Ani ledodi. Me'alai Teshukato. Ani ledodi. Ani ledodi. Ani ledodi. Ani ledodi. Me'alai Teshukato. Me'alai Teshukato. Ani ledodi. Ani ledodi. Me'alai Teshukato.
Once more.
Ani ledodi. Ani
Me'alai Teshukato Me'alai Teshukato Hani Ledodi Me'alai Teshukato
Can I surrender to that evolutionary force that is calling me into my fullest potential? Can I know the sharks as all part of what is growing me into that full potential, into that wide open heart of love?
Yum again.
Yeah. So the, when we talk about love in a Jewish context, there's always a sense of covenant in it. That, sort of the Jewish model of love is covenantal, and for it to be covenantal means that that something is required of me. I am being called forth in a partnership with the divine, because I am actually the divine being called forth. And so there's something required of me. And this last practice I want to do with you says, let my glory sing. It's like, and let it not be silenced. And I always say, there's a good silence and there's a bad silence. There's a deep good silence inside us, which is like opening to God's presence. There's a bad silence also, which is anytime you've ever been told to shut up, that little shut up thing stays inside you and it shuts something down. And it's our job in our spiritual practice to open that up, to let that glory sing, to not be shut down, to be opened up and not only receive the flow, but become a channel, a unique channel for that flow to come through us. So this practice, Let My Glory Sing, it is, what I like to do is I think about the gondoliers
Italian gondolier.
in Venice. And I sing in that. I actually just know them from the cartoons. But the gondoliers singing with the full voice and with the full expression. And so sometimes there's a little bit of an Italian Hebrew accent when we sing this, to let that come out. And if you would like to even to use your hands to express, to use all of you in expression, to not just sit there, but to like open up to the fullness of expression and let it be sourced deep inside. So let's see. So we'll sing it first, kind of straight all the way through, and then we can add our fancy things, our own expressions. Chavod v'lo yidom anecha chavod v'lo
chavod velo yidom ezamecha chavod velo Amecha chavod velo yidom. He is Amecha chavod velo Amecha chavod velo yidom. He is Amecha chavod velo Amecha chavod velo yidom. Is Amecha Is Amecha chavod velo yidom. Is Amecha He is Amecha chavod velo yidom. He is Amecha chavod velo He is Amecha chavod velo yidom. He is Amecha chavod velo Is Amecha chavod velo yidom. Is Amecha chavod velo Is Amecha chavod velo yidom. Is Amecha
amecha chavod velo yidom amecha chavod velo is a mecha chavod velo yidom is a mecha chavod velo
Let that flow really happen. And, so I want to just to recap that we opened up those simple pleasures as a doorway and open to the river of bliss, which is the expanded consciousness that we walk through. And then to be able to then surrender to the evolutionary force that is calling us into our fullness, our potential. And then we want to express that potential, because the more that we express it, the more that kind of we hear it ourselves and we are inspired to really inhabit that expanded consciousness in that expression. So I'm all for artistic expression and in lots of different forms, but to find lots of different forms to express what is, it feels like each person is a kind of a treasure chest, and like somehow to be unlocked, and we are being unlocked by our by the sacred phrases of our inheritance are there as keys to unlock the treasures that are in us. So I just finished a week of my first art show, which was me having the courage to show the art that I've been doing, and
75 pieces.
And Janice was there to help me take it down today, and there's some people who have purchased some of those paintings. I'm going to send them to you on Monday, and they're still on my website if you want to look at the paintings that are on the website. If there's still plenty more that if you want to get one and support this charity, that's the local charity, Hamas Helping Hands. So I invite you to look at those, to be able to share in the joy of my expression of color, and invite you also come to the website, and if you feel moved to give a little donation to help us keep going with this KZOOM, which is the only thing we can count on in our lives. But actually today I just found out that there is a retreat I'm going to be teaching at Garrison in New York. That was a definite now, the 14th to the 16th.
Oh, good.
With a priest and an imam. A rabbi, a priest, and imam walked into
a retreat center.
Into a bar, and we're teaching a retreat together, like a Sunday to Tuesday retreat in Garrison, New York, and I'll put it on the website. But it's called Prisms of Unity. So we're all going to talk about unity and experience practices from our three traditions. So that I just found out today. That's a go, and hopefully the alumni retreat will happen also. We just haven't heard yet. So I'm going to stop the recording.